Good morning, Dr. Beery. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us today. It's a bright sunny day in Bentonville, Arkansas. How is the day on your side
Oh,
in
it's wonderful.
Houston?
We had a ton of rain yesterday, but those April showers are bringing May flowers, so we're doing great.
You are a very accomplished leader in your space. For my audience, I just give us a brief about who you are and what you really do for your living.
All right. Well, thank you. Good morning, and nice to meet all you folks. My name is Dr. Peter Beery. I'm the founder of SpaceSpeak.com. It's a website where you can send a message into space, either text or audio or video, and image, etc. That's sort of a side gig for me. Most of the time, I'm doing, I lead a product development team for a couple of different industries. I have a company called Next Gen Space where we do artificial intelligence tools for the space industry. And I also lead a development team doing tools and services for healthcare uh, 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 revenue cycle management, I guess is the right way to say that. In any case, it's very exciting to be here and delighted to be working with your team.
Great. Thank you. I'm so excited that we have at least two things in common: the space messaging and revenue cycle for healthcare. I have done revenue cycle for healthcare for a very long time, end-to-end billing to collections, and that world just gives me goosebumps. So great to have you here. Doctor, how was your journey growing up? You have created such a unique thing, the space messaging company, SpaceSpeak. How did you get inspiration to develop or create something like this? How did you create the technology which is working today for behind the scene in SpaceSpeak? Tell us something about yourself growing up. How was life? You grew up. Where did you grow up, and how did you develop your interest in science and technology?
Ah, well, it's a great question. I I have a form of high functioning autism called Asperger's, or at least used to be called Asperger's. I have a twin brother who was my handler, let's put it that way. So we would go out into the world and he would make the friends and I would keep the friends. But in any case, I having a social anxiety disorder makes it a little hard to interact with people. And so I focused in on studies and science and television shows like the original Star Trek series, etc., were key inspirations. And so, anyway, being interested in science sort of brought me into physics, brought me into chemistry and a variety of other fields, and I've just had a love of that ever since. Um, and I, somewhere along the line, realized that I liked teaching. And so I became a professor at Notre Dame for a number of years in the computer science department, even though my degree was in physics. Um, Taught astronomy, taught other aspects of computer science and physics, etc., and just had a lot of fun with it. When I left uh, to go to industry, I kept that love alive by creating SpaceSpeak. SpaceSpeak was a way for us to basically leverage the cloud and build a platform where we could have people come into a website, deposit their message, and then we would have transmitters around the world that would send those messages out. The people would come back in later and see how far it had traveled, and they'd get a fun space fact. So we, developed a database of space facts and distances in space, so we can say, hey, you're 14% of the way to Proxima Centauri, and here's some interesting facts about Proxima Centauri. And so it was a natural progression, but it was I come at the world from an unusual angle, and it's a great life.
It is indeed. When I was mesmerized by this, and you know how we have used the creation that you have given to the world for making it more spiritual and taking it to the diaspora in India and in US and aligning it with the spiritual realm that we want to do. My question to you here is, this would have started with something very, very personal. And I could be wrong here. Thinking in this manner and just reaching to the stars is science, but it's also spirituality. It's also something in you which probably told you, hey, this is something which is out of bound for regular people. So was there an incident that just led to this?
Yeah, I okay. So being an Aspie, I don't interact with people well. I don't read faces well, but I feel just as any other human would feel. And that inability to connect to people sort of led me down a path of embracing poetry. And so I write poetry, and there is something poetic about being able to put a message out into space and to know that it's going to last for millions of years. You know, make it spread out to where it's unlegible, but it's there. And that sense of connectedness is very spiritual to me. Um, so I started with writing poetry and sending it out into space. And then I realized if I want to do this, other people are going to want to do this. They're going to have, you know, something that has moved them that they want to put out there and preserve in some fashion. It could be, you know, they had a pet or a relative who's ill or who's passed away, and they want to immortalize them in some way. And so I sort of opened it up as a way for folks to do that. And you know, about 25% of the messages that are sent are memorials to somebody. And, you know, maybe they'll, you know, they you know, passed away on June 14th. And, you know, every year they set a message up to send out on June 14th. And so it's just kind of a cool way for people to do things. It's not expensive to run. And so it was just sort of a fun thing to do. And then people like your organization have come to me and said, "Hey, we've got something that's, you know, an adjacent area that could benefit from this, and I'm happy to share it." So I love it when people come to me and say, "Hey, this is what we want to do. Help us do this." And we had, for example, a radio program in the UK with children, and we had something like 1,000 children's voices recorded in audio offering messages to space aliens or anybody else they wanted in space. And we broadcast that from the Royal Observatory using a SpaceSpeak transmitter. It was absolutely a marvelous program, and I just love doing these sort of things.
I mean, first of all, I think that is how God really got us together and connected with you, because this is exactly how I resonate with the stars and the universe. I mean, sending your voice out, thinking about your loved ones who are probably no longer with us now, and sending it out makes you feel slightly better that yeah, maybe they are listening. But yes, I think that's a great thing that you have developed. I want to thank you. This is something for the humanity, so really thank you for that. uh, on the next question, and I want to now move to the technical part of it. Both of us, you and I, we are technologists at profession, at work. When we were creating it, and still, and we are creating this in an industry which is not at par with United States. People in US know what Voyager 1 and 2 are. They understand how the radio messaging etc work. When we go and speak to our markets, and I'm not saying I mean, India is very wide and diverse, and there, I mean, very educated people to people who are not that they don't have that knowledge in science. They are more spiritual, and when we tell them that, hey, you can reach out to these stars, use this, there are questions. I don't know, oh, is it just someone just said, oh, so you're just doing like an animation, this is an animated thing, it is just showing you it's happening. So we find it difficult at times to explain to people that no, this is what really it is. Can you, for our general audience, in layman terms, explain how does this work?
Sure. So there's several aspects of it. One is we are beaming. You grab uh, this is more of a prop than anything else, but just imagine you had an antenna that had a series of bars on it. This would be called a Yagi antenna. And what it does is when you send a signal through it, it forces the signal to go upwards in a cone. And so you're taking the signal that normally would be a 360 circle, you're condensing it into a 15-degree cone that goes up. And so that's what a Yagi antenna is. This is not the Yagi antenna, but that's small enough to show on something like this. So what we do is we pick a set of frequencies that will pass through the Earth's atmosphere. And there is a band between about 2 gigahertz and about 5 gigahertz that will pass through relatively unimpeded by the water in the Earth's atmosphere or the other molecules that are there, the oxygen, the nitrogen, etc. And so that allows us to pass the signal into space without it being attenuated by the atmosphere. The form of the Yagi antenna allows us to send it in a beam that is more focused, and so you can take a relatively small signal and greatly enhance its strength by 15 or 20 times just by putting it in a narrow cone. The other way you can boost the signal is to transmit at a slow bit rate. In other words, you send 1 bit by 1 bit by 1 bit instead of bit, 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 bit. And that allows the energy per bit to be relatively high. And so these are the techniques that we use to send signals into space. The power of our transmitters in aggregate are pretty close to what was being used for the Pioneer spacecraft, and the Voyager spacecraft, which we are still in connection with some of them, even though they're past the solar system. They're in interstellar space at this point.
Yeah.
So, and finally, the last thing we have these transmitters around the world. So we have a bunch of these micro transmitters that are all pointing up. And as the Earth rotates to where we want to send the signal, then you start sending. When the next transmitter rotates in, you start sending again. And so you can repeat the message beaming toward particular spots, or just in general, you can just keep running it 24 hours a day and send the message, all around in space. And it's going to do this 15-degree cone, with whatever the rotation of the Earth is. So there's a lot of opportunity to leverage a lot of transmitters and focusing the transmitters, even though they're individually low power. You can do a lot to get the signal out there.
Yeah, and I am totally committed to work with you to make this happen. We want to keep these transmitters in every house where people are able to pray and send their messages to the universe. Manifest, and manifestation is powerful. We all know that. One example I would quote is a very close friend of mine. She's a known person in the industry. She worked with me on a couple of things, and she was going through a tough time, and she made it a point that she was manifesting using our app, your technology, and she achieved unbelievable results in a period of about 30 to 60 days. And that is the power I want to bring to the world. Science, technology, spirituality. I think for me, this is coming together in this day and age to probably take the human civilization to the next level. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, now since we are talking about space and technology, I have a big question. And all our interns, we work with a lot of interns. There are a lot of people behind the scene, kids, high school kids, some as young as maybe in their uh, not elementary, but like in sixth grade, seventh grades, who are learning to code. They work with us in Maryland, in Virginia. And when we were preparing for this, I asked them, do you guys have any questions that I should take to Dr. Perry? And the most famous question erupted. Do you think we are the only ones out there, or there are other people listening?
I, you know, I have so many thoughts. It seems like such a vast waste of room to have us be the only creatures out here. But no, I I think the universe and the galaxy is probably packed full of life, and I can't imagine that could be anything other than that. And just from what we've seen on our planet, and if you look at even teeny creatures like a honeybee, okay, the amount of neural activity in a honeybee, their capacity to learn patterns, which you wouldn't expect an insect to do, it is just fantastic. Their little tiny brains are wired to learn. And if a bee can do it, you just got to imagine that there's tons of creatures out there that can do that all across the universe. And um, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. This is my personal bias. Okay, I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But if I were an alien civilization monitoring Earth and looking at it, where would I sit? I'd take the plane of the planets rotate in. I'd go perpendicular to it above the sun someplace, and I would just put a dark listening post. And then, as the Earth travels around the sun, they always have a connection into it. And so, you know, I would imagine that we're interesting to somebody out there, and that up there is somebody listening within, a light day or so, and that our signals will probably can reach them. So I don't know if it's true or not, but if that's what I was doing, that's how I would do it. And I'd go even further with it and say that we're probably not going to talk to aliens themselves. We're going to talk to the aliens AI. Because just like we can translate languages with artificial intelligence now, they're going to be able to look at our signals and translate them into whatever language they're speaking. They may not use sound waves, they may not use light waves, they may have, they may see electromagnetic waves that are frequencies that we don't see. Whatever it is they're doing, they can do it with AI translating what we see. And so I just, anyway, I know I'm a geek, but I that's what I think is going on.
I think you and I are thinking the same way. I was having the goosebumps when you were talking about it because my theory is the same. I mean, I, we are still kind of in the cradle of the civilization, as you may say.
Yeah.
We've just we've just discovered AI and have started to talk about it at the scale that we are talking right now. But this is really the future, and you're right. I think it is always going to be AI to AI. When we'll discover something, it would be technology discovering another technology, and that's how it should be. I think we're all the world is preparing us for this.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
When Star Trek had its little universal translator badges or whatever it was, this technology is becoming real. And, I think I wouldn't be terribly surprised as we get a little further out into the solar system and beyond that we're finally ready to come out of the protected zoo mode and have them start talking to us.
Yeah. I think that's coming. It's inevitable. I think it's there. With this, another question. Uh, how do you connect this with God? What do you think? I
That's
mean,
That's another great question. I'm going to go back to my poetry from before. I look out into the world and I see the trees and I see the flowers and I see the leaves and the sun glinting off, and those are all vibrating molecules, which is completely unpoetic. But yet I see the beauty. And so, from my perspective, God is the ultimate poet. He's enabled us to see the beauty of creation, and when we write poetry, we're doing it as a reflection. It's a connection between our humanity and the divine. And so I love writing poetry, and that is my way of talking to God. And we have your group and mine have a Discord channel,
Yeah.
SpaceSpeak, that you can go to. And if you go to the SpaceSpeak website, spacespeak.com, there's a link to the Discord channel. You can go there and you can get into either your channel or ours from there. But there's a poetry section there that people can write poetry and they can put it there. It's a STEM group, but so if you're interested in what my poetry is, you can go see some of it there. I've got a lot more, but the key thing is that this is how we pray. We emote. We find transcendent truth in the symbols that are available to us. And from God's perspective, the symbols are the reality around us. For me, it's the words that I can use. So much more limited in God, but I can't help but feel that that there is a God, and you can come at it logically. You can come and say that, hey, listen, if God is perfect and something, then everything has to be part of God. Because if something is not part of God, then it would be more perfect if that was part of God. If God is perfect, then you can make this sort of circular arguments, and you can decide what God means to you. But for me, it's the proof of God is the fact that I don't see a leaf or a flower as a vibration. I see it as something of beauty. And to me, that act of poetry at a creational level is the proof of God. And if there isn't a God, that to me is God. So
Very powerful, very,
yeah.
very powerful. Thank you. Thank you. That is a piece of wisdom. I will take that home. Thank you for saying that. I would definitely go and start reading your poetry. This is one aspect of your that life that I wasn't aware of, but I would definitely love to know more about your poetic side and learn from you. Thank you, Doctor. Last question from my side for today. You created something, and I think the universe got us together. And when we interacted with you and we partnered with you, we were already on the path, a journey to create another uh, business, another team, another organization for the benefit of the humanity. Uh, and then we both came together and we learned from you and adopted your technology to bring it to the largest population on the planet and make them be more spiritual, connect more to the God, and manifest more. What do you think about our concept? And I want your honest opinion. I mean, there's always something to learn from your perspective and hear you.
I there aren't good words for it, but there's a smile in my heart when you guys reached out. Um, this is a beautiful thing, and I love what you guys are doing. And um, there's a lot of religions in the world, um, but yours in particular really seems to embrace the joy that's out there, and the sense of connectedness with the future, with the past, with your progenitors. And I love that aspect. And having an opportunity to help fulfill your mission, um, that's special. That gives me a sense of my life has value because I've helped somebody else find value in theirs. And so I'm very excited about this. And um, you know, I want to do everything I can to help you guys succeed in what you're doing because I think the world is a better place when people try and be good to one another. And so, SpaceSpeak, our motto is make the world a better place and let the universe know about it. That was a bit tongue in cheek. Um, but the message and the sentiment is real. The world is a better place when we realize the things that are common between us rather than the things that are different or that drive us apart. And we are all fundamentally human, spiritual, loving creatures. And and I love any group that is working to promote that aspect of the best of humanity. And so thank you guys for reaching out and for allowing me to help you with what you're doing.
It's all our. I think we did something good to come across you and crossroads with you. What you have created is, I want to take it to 1 billion people, and that's really the motto. And yes, I think it's another way to do good things, to be good and send good wishes to the universe and to the world. And that's how I think we as a civilization are evolving, and we need to spread more positivity, more love across the world and across the universe. So thank you so much, Doctor, for being such an inspiring figure, doing such great innovations. And yeah, I loved every minute of our interaction today.
It's a
And
pleasure.
we'll also try and convert this, like you said, the machine that changes it. I will convert this to Hindi and let the audience in India and the Southeast Asia review it and watch it in their local language. I think that would be very powerful. So thank you so much for being with us today. I thank you from the entire Astro Horizon team, and we'll continue to work together. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.